Christine Reese. Tracy Wensloff is here. Thank you, Grace. Carrie Gottsman could not be here today. His granddaughter is being, I think, first communion perhaps in the cities. And Mary Ross is here. Roscoe, where are you? Right back there. Can we give these folks a nice hand? And I have to thank the Roseau community, which has always supported excellence in academics and athletics, and the arts, volunteerism, and all the other good things that make a town a great town. So, Roseau community and all you folks, thank you. Our first presenter has been coaching boys golf at Roseau High School for, I don't know, a long time. When he started, it was still 9 holes and sand greens, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So it's my pleasure to present a future Hall of Famer, Mike Plumpum.
Yep, thank you. I really wasn't coaching when it was nine holes sand green, but actually when I first played, we were playing on sand green. So well, I've been around for a while. Just through my notes out here, I thought, I'm glad to be here to talk about something, that really is dear to my heart, and that's Roseau High School golf program. We've had a lot of success both on the boys and the girls side over the years, and turned out a lot of people that are still around and playing in our community. But one team and leader that we're looking at that really is special today actually became state champions. And like Jack was saying, I've been coaching a long time, and prior to that I was a golfer for Roseau. And our boys team has been runner-up 7 times in the state, so we're a proud, really good program. Our girls have had some other real good results too, but this particular coach and team will recognize that they actually won a state tournament. And that, is something that's really special from a little small town up here. But so we're proud of that, and I believe, being a Roseau girl allowed Sue to use her background to really create her coaching style for the girls in Roseau. She held them to a high standard, used encouragement and praise kind of as a motivation to get the girls to play the best. And talking about that encouragement and praise, Sue's husband, Paul, coached with me a long time. And in our program, we needed, whether it was the players or the coaches, if we needed encouragement and praise, one going so good, we would turn to Paul. And that was passion. He would try to bring the sun out somehow. But so I think maybe he got that kind of from the same family. And we were lucky to have good teams back in the time when Sue was coaching, where we got both the boys and the girls down to the state tournament. And when you're there, Roseau's, they're recognized and well thought of on the golf course. And I gotta say, Sue and her little northern girls, they could dress up and turn a few heads at the banquet every year too. One kind of great memory from going to the state, more so than just the golf. It was a special time. Coaching seemed to come so easy for Sue, and I think a big part of it was because she was a Roseau girl and learned the values and the style from here. But in the more than a decade or whatever, where she was the head coach in charge of the program, Sue always drove the ball straight. And like we like to say, 245, right down the middle. So today we recognize a player and a coach who, as a young girl, with the encouragement of Roseau, with encouragement of family first, and I can go back quite a ways there too. Sue's grandfather was Carl Wahlberg, one of the true, really pioneers of Roseau golf that was involved when the grass greens were just a dream and just building the course. And college officer and a promoter of kids and young people to play. And I can vouch as being one of those kids that was encouraged to be out there. But I'm sure he had a certain amount to do with Sue getting started as a girl, along with the community support. She learned how to play golf. As a young lady, she started to be a player at golf. Was on Roseau High School, really good high school team at that time. 5 years starting in 8th grade. So she gained a lot of experience, was really a solid leader by the time she was done. From there, went on to play college golf in Concordia, which we have fortunately a few girls and a few boys that have gone on to play college golf. But it's no easy feat. And back then, she was one of the very first ones. So that was good to see. And then, kind of the best part then, as a young woman, she decided to come back to Roseau. And, you know, quite quickly, you know, busy with family and job and whatnot, she became the golf coach for the girls. And I think at that time, that was when Roseau girls were really taken off. Were probably at the actual peak of, the best girls team we ever had. And she was the right leader for them, and they immediately had success. Right on. You get that sometimes with when you're golfing, trying to make a 3-foot putt too, so. I want to keep that going. But, today, remember where I kind of left off. Today we're proud to honor Sue Wahlberg Grafstrom, champion, always a winner, and she still drives the ball pretty straight. Sue.
First of all, congratulations to all of today's inductees. I'm very honored to be included with all of you today. Thank you for RHS Hall of Fame Committee, Citizen State Bank, for your ongoing work and financial support to honor the past, present, and future athletes, coaches, and athletic personnel of what we consider a great community. Thank you, Mike, for introducing me today. You have been a mentor to me during our time coaching together and a great friend to me, to Paul, and to our whole family. And for that, I am very grateful to you. Thank you to RHS for establishing one of the first girls' high school golf programs in northern Minnesota in the state back in 1978. It gave me and hundreds of other girls from RHS the opportunity to learn how to play golf. A sport where young and old can play together, and a sport that can be enjoyed until we're too old to swing a club anymore. Championship teams and successful programs don't develop without community support. So I'd like to thank the City of Roseau, the membership of Oakcrest Golf Course for providing one of the finest golf courses in Minnesota and for allowing kids to play for free on it. Roseau is a very special place, and being able to play golf for free when we were growing up was such an invaluable opportunity. I haven't found too many other golf courses across the state or across our country that support their youth with this same type of commitment. Thank you to all the coaches that mentored me when I first took over the girls golf program, Gary Ross, and some of the other coaches from other towns. But a special thanks to assistant coaches Sharon Grafstrom and Julie Carlson. Coaching with women that were golfers that came from the program that eventually had their daughters on the team was really a unique experience, and I hope it showed the girls what is possible when you go off and go back out into the world. I must admit I feel a bit unworthy of being honored for the success of players of the teams that I coached. Golf's not only a challenging game to play, but a very complex sport to teach and coach. I was only an above average golfer and definitely not a PGA professional. So beyond being a glorified van driver, I believe my value is in strategy, preparation, and really helping the players and the girls give themselves the best chance of success. With very talented athletes who won 2 state championships, including Sarah Butler, who won a girls golf state champion title, it was essential to get them into tournaments the best golfers from across the state were playing in and playing on those challenging golf courses. This meant a lot of trips to the Twins to help them prepare, make sure they arrived at the tournaments with plenty of time to warm up, and plan meals and snacks to keep them at their peak performance. However, beyond the strategy and preparation, I believe an added value as a head coach lay in the support and guidance I could provide to all my players, both on and off the golf course. As Mike mentioned, I was a high school and college golfer, and I recall the anguish of defeat, the thrill of victory. I knew when to offer comfort and words of wisdom or give a victorious high five. But I also knew that a spring golf season includes a lot of non-golf events, such as prom, scholarship banquets, ACT testing, finals, graduation events. It distracts the most dedicated golfer, and at the end of the day, golf sometimes is just not the most important thing going on in that young athlete's life. So sometimes you just need to have a day off to go to your hairstylist and practice your prom hairdo for that big dance coming up. Or take the day off to go to Grand Forks because you need a graduation dress and it's the only time you can go. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with the quote that my friend and current coach of the Roseau girls golf team, Christine Reese, has at the bottom of her signature line email. In golf, as in life, it's the follow-through that counts. As a coach, I couldn't offer PGA professional coaching, but as the players look back on our time together, I hope they can say that I was the coach who followed through to help them become the best they could be, whether it was in golf or in life. Thank you.
I had the pleasure of coaching our next presenter in both tennis and softball, and she was a coach as a player in both of those sports, and that's why she's a great coach today. And so it's my pleasure to introduce the head coach of the Roseau girls hockey team, Amanda Monkman-Giles.
Oh, if I get emotional, I'll apologize. This guy means a lot to me. So good afternoon, everyone. It's a real honor to be up here today introducing someone who means a lot to me personally and who has played such a huge role in shaping what Roseau girls hockey has become. Oof, it's early for me to cry. Okay. Coach Brian Bergstrom. This past year, Roseau girls hockey has celebrated a quarter century, and the one constant that has been there through all the highs and lows has been Bergie. When Bergie stepped up and agreed to become the first ever coach of the girls hockey program, the word program might have been a little bit of a stretch. The team was made up of a few girls who skated because their brothers played, and a lot more of friends who came out just so they could have a team. And then there was Bergie, the hard-nosed, loud, former boys hockey coach and football coach whose temper matched his stature. But behind all that fire was a coach who cared deeply about doing things the right way. He demanded effort, accountability, and pride. He was tough, no doubt, but he was fair. I went back and forth about a lot of different stories I could tell that would explain his fire, but the one that always sticks out in my mind is in Bemidji my senior year in the freezer of a rink that is Nymore. We were on a power play right before either the end of the first or the second period, and I was at the point on the blue line and the puck just hopped over my stick. I was regrouping in the neutral zone and I could have moved the puck up the ice to our two stud forwards, Amy Olsen and Abby Ness, who are both Hall of Famers here. Instead, I drew everybody to the one side of the ice and dropped it back to my D partner, which would have been a great play, would have led her into a breakaway. But she had no idea this was coming. So I dropped the puck and Bemidji went on a predictable breakaway and rang one off the pipe right as the buzzer rang. And I looked over at the bench and I could just see the color in Bergie's face changing. I could see him aggressively grabbing the board to walk to the locker room, and I kind of abandoned my water bottle, that's for next period, and skidded into the locker room. And predictably, he came in and was a little bit upset. He stormed in the locker room and started going on about effort and doing the simple plays and all of that great stuff. And he turned to me and he said, "Monk, what the hell was that? What are you doing out there? You gotta make the simple plays." And he ended on, "This isn't rocket scientist." And as soon as I heard him say it, I hid my face with my shoulder pads like this to try to hide my laugh. And then out of the corner of my eye, I look and I see Jeff Olson and Shane McFarland smirking and shuffling really quickly to the door so they could make a break before they could laugh their asses off over here. But you know what? He was absolutely right. I could have made the simple play. I could have got it up the ice and had Amy or Abby make a play to the net with seconds left. But I didn't. I didn't communicate. Those are the type of moments we joke about and we laugh about. But there's, honest to God, lessons that truly have stuck with me to this day. As time went on and his two daughters grew up, Bergie started to soften a little. His yelling wasn't quite as loud or as long. He became more patient, more understanding, and he built really strong relationships with his players. He knew when to push things, or maybe when to say that we were just a little bit more capable of what we were displaying at the moment. Depending on when you experience Bergie in his coaching career, you might have different descriptors for him. Some remember the fire, the yelling, the difficult situations that anyone would struggle with. Others know the more patient, understanding side. But what I've learned is that he's truly both. He's stubborn, he's competitive, he's passionate and loud, but he's also one of the most kind, caring, compassionate, and really truly believes in his players. Brian coached the girls program for its first 12 seasons, led us to our first ever state tournament in 2008, and went back 2 more times before stepping away. And when he did, he had every right to wipe his hands of the program because of the situation that had befallen him, but he didn't. He immediately started coaching his daughters in youth hockey, then came back to help with JV under Steve Hughlin, and later even stepped up when I asked in 2021 when I took over the program. He might not be on the bench anymore, but I can still call him for advice when I'm facing something tough, and somehow he always finds the right words to say. He was and still is the biggest advocate for our players. He actively maintains our Hockey Hall of Fame, helps organize our annual pizza fundraiser, and is one of the biggest supporters every single season. You'll see him at the rink, being a goal judge, probably swearing or yelling. Every player who's worn a Roseau girls hockey jersey, past or present, owes a piece of their experience to him. He built the foundation and instilled the culture of hard work that still exists today. He gave girls in Roseau the chance to dream big and play at the next level. And for me personally, it's come full circle. I get to coach the program that he started, on the same bench that he stood, on the same ice, teaching the same values that he taught us. And for that, I cannot ever repay those life lessons and those values that you taught us, Bergie. So thank you for your passion, your belief in all of us, and for building something that this school and community can be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating my former coach, mentor, and friend, Coach Brian Burke.
Surely if I get a motion, I can blame her. Gotta get glasses. So thank you, Amanda, for that introduction. I know you didn't always have those nice words from Adrian, so practice. And huge congratulations to everyone else who conducted the Roseau Athletic Hall of Fame tonight. It's an incredible honor to be added to this group of amazing people. Honestly, it's a little hard for me to talk about an individual achievement, because for me, this is a group and team accomplishment. Success in any coaching field requires mentors to guide you, peers who share your vision and are willing to work alongside you, and most importantly, players who are willing to follow your lead. I'd like to share this recognition and thank the people who believed in me and gave me the tools to be successful. The first is where I read it so many times at home. I was fortunate to have an athletic director who truly believed in me and was willing to take a chance. Mr. Terry Dotsman gave me the first shot as a head coach. I was young, had zero experience, probably thought I knew about everything. And this was a brand new program we were starting. Now that I think of it, I might have been the only one who even applied for the job, but thank you anyways for allowing me that opportunity. Next, you hope that as you work up the ranks, that you find someone that you genuinely look up to, mentor. That person you get ideas from, learn the ropes, see how things need to be done. I was very lucky to have 3 people who filled this role. First is Dick Johnson, Pee-wees. I took many lessons from Dick, but the one thing that stuck with me the most was always remembering your representative. The name on the front of the jersey was everything. It didn't matter if you were on the ice, in an arena lobby, or grabbing a bite to eat after a game. You were representing the community, the school, and all the players who wore the jersey before you. Over the years, random people we'd meet at arenas, public, or even our own bus drivers compliment the girls on how respectful and thoughtful they were. This happened in the beginning when we were losing more than we were winning, and it also happened in the end when we were winning more than we were losing. We showed respect on the ice and respect off the ice. They acted in a way that made us proud to feel good. Then there was Bruce Olson, high school level. Again, I learned a ton from Bruce. The main lesson was how to play the game. You might win a game or two on talent, but you will never build a program without moving the puck, playing your position, and truly understanding the game. Everyone has a role, and they must understand it and the reasons behind it to be successful. When we were starting, we had a long ways to go. Like Amanda said, we had a long ways to go. But the effort those girls put forth was amazing. They were like sponges, absorbing everything. All they wanted to do was learn, get better, and play the game. It took some time. The first 3 years, we were 24 and 41. But we just kept getting better at knowing where to be and why. Soon more and more teams complimented us on how hard we were playing against them because of our positioning and relentless work ethic. During the years I was working with Dick and Bruce, I was also coaching with Doug Brovich in football. From my time with Doug, I learned about the sheer time and effort it takes to successfully lead a team or program. You have to be involved at all levels of your sport. You need to be in constant communication with all your youth coaches, and everyone needs to be on the same page. Everyone has to be pulling in the same direction. I was incredibly fortunate to have a group of youth coaches who believed in what we were trying to build. We'd meet a couple times a month, discuss things, and plan our direction. Sure, we had disagreements, but we talked them out on common ground mostly. Sometimes I just said, this is the way it's going to be. One thing Dick, Bruce, and Doug all shared was their willingness to listen to the ideas and concerns of their assistants. I had so many great assistants: Patty Elsmore, Jamie McFarland, Jamie Bufflin, Brittany Goose, Amanda Malcolm. She hurt her leg that one year on the bench. But I want to specifically mention 2 who were with me for numerous years: Paul Grastrom, Jeff Olson. Paul started with me in the beginning. Honestly, pretty sure I would have been in the hospital with blood pressure problems if it weren't for him. He had such a great knowledge of the game, always so calm. be about to lose my mind, and I look over at Paul, and he'd just smile and say, "Relax, Bertie, settle down. You know, they'd probably be able to understand you a little better if your face wasn't so red, your blood vessels weren't popping." Thank you, Paul, for everything you did to help our program grow and for keeping me sort of. Jeff became my assistant when Paul moved to help out with his daughters and their youth team. By the time Jeff joined, we were seeing players come through the 10U, 12U, and 14U programs. We were getting kids who came to high school levels already understanding the game, having had success with their youth teams. Jeff, who had been working in those youth programs, had an impressive knowledge of the game too. But what always struck me was his ability to get his message across to any player, regardless of their age, their ability. Jeff knew exactly what to say and when to say it. Thank you, Jeff, for everything you did to help our program grow. Paul, Jeff, and all the other coaches, thank you for helping develop the girls hockey program through all the good times. More importantly, for sticking with me through all the hard times and stressful moments. And now the players. Thought about this for quite a while. Quite a while, really. The best thing I could come up with was to say sorry. I'm not going to share any stories or situations that happened over the years, but I will tell you that I expected and demanded a lot from every single player. We were never going to lose a game because we were outworked, because someone was out of position. You worked as hard as you could while you're on the ice, and when it was time to change, you better still have enough energy to skate hard. We were quiet and respectful on our bus. We showed respect to our opponents and fans. But when we stepped onto the ice, things changed. We were there for one reason and one reason only. That was to play the game. Now in my defense, think about the mentors I talked about earlier. Dick Johnson, Bruce Olson, Doug Barovich, who by the way are all in the Athletic Hall of Fame. You might start to understand why it's a little intense some or most of the time. I have so much respect for the effort girls showed throughout the years. Not once in 12 years did any team embarrass the community or the name on the front of their jersey. They always acted and played as a Roseau Ridge. As I close, there's a final element you need in order to be successful, and that is by far the most important, and that's fair understanding family. Coaching is something that I absolutely love to do, but it takes an incredible amount of time away from the home and family events. Practices, meetings, games, weekends spent on the road. So many times I'd be in one town with the high school team, Tracy would have one daughter in another town, either the Santals or the Helgesons would have the other daughter yet to have a town. None of that would have been possible without your patience and support. All three of you, Tracy, Mackenzie, and Jordan, always supported me and encouraged me to do something I enjoyed. I know it meant a lot of sacrifices, taking care of so many things on your own, missing me at a lot of your events. You did it all without complaining. So thank you, Tracy and Jordan. You truly are the ones who made this work possible. And thank you again to the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. It was truly an honor to be part of an amazing group.
I don't know if you've looked at the program or not, but in Bergie's bio, it talks about the various sports that he coached in Roseau. One of them was 9th grade boys basketball. I thought A.J. Kramer was the shortest basketball coach in Roseau. Our next presenter is a longtime friend who served about a decade in the Minnesota legislature as a state representative. Then he was demoted to mayor of the city of Roseau. And honestly, I think, Roger, I think you'll agree, the next step down bottom of the barrel would be county commissioner, I believe. So it's my pleasure to present Dan Payne.
Well, the truth be told, being chosen as mayor of Roseau was a promotion for me, not a demotion. So that's the way I see that. It's my honor to be here today. Thank you all for being here as well to honor all the inductees. Congratulations to all of you for a tremendous accomplishment. I look around the room and I see all these familiar faces and so forth, but of course when you've lived in a place for almost 50 years, basically everybody is a good friend of yours. So thank you all for being here. To the parents who are here of 9 athletes that we're recognizing today. Thank you for your patience in putting up with me and some of my shenanigans and so forth. But this is about the girls today. And the girls that we are inducting into the Hall of Fame are part of something that's truly historic in terms of Roseau track and field, especially in Roseau athletics. It's unprecedented in Minnesota track and field history that one school dominated an event like these girls dominated the 4x8 relay. Starting in 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 2001, we won 6 4x8 championships. That's unprecedented in Minnesota State track and field history, as far as I can find. I can tell you that the girls that are on these teams always represented Roseau with the highest standards. They're so much fun to be around. They made my job easy and fun. And with assistant coaches like Charlie Klotz and Dave Reeves and a whole bunch of other people, I couldn't have landed in a better place and coached better people than the 9 girls on today. In addition to those championships that they won in 4x8, we also won 2 in 4x400. And in 2001, we set a state record in the 4x400 meter relay, which was 3 minutes 56 seconds, 0.97, I believe. And I noticed on social media this spring a little bit, the girls were pretty happy because Park Rapids got really close, but they didn't break that record that was set in 2001. So, also that year, they did something else that's unprecedented. We got invited to go to Raleigh, North Carolina, to North Carolina State University to run Adidas National Track and Field Championships. Really, really a special deal. We got the invitation 2 weeks before, and I just kind of organically said, yes, we're going. And then thanks to you folks, we were able to round up a bunch of money and buy airplane tickets and go down and perform in the rain and so forth. I can still see Ada literally sliding across the finish line, taking second. It was a downpour, rain. Her contact lenses had washed off the corneas of her eyes, and she's sliding across the finish line, getting second place to a former Olympian from San Francisco. So today we are recognizing, I want to make sure I get all the names here, the 9 ladies who are on the plaques that we have. Megan Taylor, Ada Anderson, Christy Glassman, Lindsey Brumler, Heidi Evans Greenwood, Alyssa Manicky, Katie Jenicky, Serena Olson, and Bethany Sell. So, girls, thank you for all the joy you brought to my life and all the excitement that you brought to the Roseau community and for representing us so well. Congratulations today, and Mike is yours. Thank you all.
Well, we are honored to be standing here on behalf of all our teammates today. Thank you to the committee for their continued work in setting up this year after year and looking back at history and making us feel so special on days like today. I'm going to read a little bit. Ada, who is our GOAT, we could call her, she sent us a message on what she would say if she was here today. So I'm just going to read that. Thanks for the induction honor. With all the individual state titles, our relays are the ones that are the most special to me. We have always shared a vision of working and running hard, and of course, winning every time we stepped on the track. I remember as teams would be called down to get into our respective lanes, our reputation and dominance was known. One of my favorite memories out of so many were our relay teams in 1999 when we won in honor of Hannah Dieter. That year, winning state and our relay wins were so meaningful. And our first go with the big dogs at Nationals in North Carolina in 2001, our 4x8 relay ran well and we won our heat. Too bad they didn't let us get in the first heat. But it was a super good experience, a super cool experience. I remembered warming up next to Alan Webb. I don't know if you know who he is, but he was one of the first high schooler milers to break the 4-minute barrier. So we were warming up around him. Every time we stepped on the track with each other, we were racing for each other. Every lap, every exchange, every second ticking by. We knew each girl was going to do their part. Our trust, our teammates, our hard work, our heart, our greatness was never about one runner. It was always about all 4 of us who believed in each other. I think when I think of all our relay and thinking of Ada's significance in every piece of these titles is not a coincidence. We like to tell a story to this day of Ada, and one year it was just some random track meet in Warren, Minnesota, where somehow Fabian talked the people of the meet to let Ada run with the boys. And somehow word spread pretty quick at the meet that Ada was going to be in the boys' heat, and all of a sudden all the boys were dropping out. But lo and behold, Mr. Kenny Hayden, he was one of the brave souls that had to line up against Ada that race. They didn't want to lose to a girl. So that's one of our little family stories we say to this day. And then Alyssa Manicky, she wanted to share this story. Our 4x8 huddle before the state race in 1999. Dan had poked his head in and gave his classic advice with a smirk on his face. Remember, ladies, all you have to do is run fast and turn left. All these years later, that message has always stuck with me as I often tend to overthink things. There's beauty in simplicity. I have carried that message for many years through college, work, and family life. Whenever I sense things getting complicated, I remember to break it down into simple parts, and always seems more manageable. One of the memories that I have that I remember most to this day amongst our relays is the 4x4, the year we did set that state title. I remember running down the backstretch and thinking to myself, is this girl going slow or am I going fast? I don't know. And I remember handing off the baton, and you kind of go into the infield so you get out of the way of the other runners coming. And I remember passing off that baton, moving to the inside, and I looked down, catch your breath, and I looked up at the clock and I saw it just striking 3 minutes, and then I knew with Ada finishing that we were going to be running a remarkable time. And so that's when we ran that 3:56.98. And I think it's kind of funny how my split in that race was actually the fastest I have ever ran in my life. And when I think of my running career, and I was able to run in college for another 5 years or whatever, and I never ran that fast again in the 400 meters, so well played, coach. But with all seriousness, with our coach, I think one of the wonderful things as I have grown, I've seen what was done right in coaching. We didn't actually run that much, as other schools. We did very low mileage, but what we did, it was intense, and so we made it count. And I think that was something that just really enhanced our longevity and our freshness and eagerness to compete. So I say that has everything to do with you, and I think the girls to this day, 25 years later, you could call us up on the phone and say, hey, let's go do this crazy athletic thing, and we'd all be like, all right, when? What time should we be there? And that sense of joy for movement is still within all of us today. And I think as a coach, that's when you know you have won, when you have had this impact on having a positive experience on your athletes for life, not just for one season or one title. It's to carry with through life. And so I think that's when you know you've won and done your job as a coach.
Well, that's going to be hard to follow. I just wanted to share some fun memories I have over the years of track. And I remember 7th grade year, some of the older girls took me under their wing, and I think they had us running maybe like a mile or 2 miles. And they showed me that if you just go to our house and eat some Oreos and then time it out, then you can head back to the track when it wasn't 2 mile being finished. So
I had nothing to do with that. I was not doing that.
No, and then I don't know what they didn't caught on to that, but then after that, he would instead just drive us 2 miles out of town and say, run back. And so that was a better move, because then we were forced to. Another memory of mine is at Nationals. I was the first leg of the 4x800, and I just remember all of us showing up, our shorts down to here, baggy tank tops on, and these girls were running next to you, like their thighs were probably the size of my waist. They had like underwear bottoms on and sports bras, and we're in these baggy, looking like we're showing up to play basketball. And I've never ran so fast in my life because I was so scared, but I think I had my fastest play on that 4x8. But that was a really good memory of mine. I can see it clear as day. And then I remember on the far side of the track, somebody in North Carolina, knowing who Roseau was, cheering Roseau on. And I don't know if you know who that was, but there was people there who knew the town of Roseau and were cheering for us as we're all the way over in North Carolina. So that was a really cool experience. One other thing I remember, during one practice running with Bethany LaSalle, we had to do the park route, which led you out of town, and it was so hot, she was so thirsty. And so we just went to one random house and drank out of their garden hose. And I don't know if we could do that today, but no, it was a good season. We have lots of good memories. I do also want to share a memory about Bergstrom. I was part of the first girls hockey team, and I remember during one of our games, I hurt my hand and looking over at Rachel Broughton and saying, "Oh, I think I broke my hand." She's like, "Don't tell Bree, he'll make us eat Crushers tomorrow." So I didn't complain. I finished the game. On the bus ride home, it was winter, so the window was all frozen over. So I remember resting my hand on the window because it was just throbbing. And then in the morning, I went in and got an x-ray. My hand was broken. And I remember walking down to Bernie's classroom and being like, "Hey, I have a cast. I think I could still play, but I broke my hand." He's like, "Why didn't you say something?" I said, "We didn't want to skate Crushers." But I also want to thank everybody who puts this organization and this event on. It's very cool. It's a fun thing to recognize all the good athletes that come out of this town. So thank you.
I think Mike and Sue talked about Oak Crest Golf Course being among the best golf courses in Minnesota, which is true. But Gilbertson Baseball Field also ranks as among the best ball fields in Minnesota. Credit currently to Mike Benke Sr. And of course the Benke family. Joey's a member of this Hall of Fame. And I'm sure that's a topic of, where's Mike? I'm sure that's a topic of conversation that you aren't. So I apologize for that. It's my honor to present Mike Benke Jr.
First of all, congratulations to all of the inductees up on this stage, and congrats to all the people in the stands here and in the seats on the other side, because it's very likely that it's because of you people that these people are able to be up on stage. Aaron Larson. I've known Lars since we were in the 6th grade. I was the new kid in school, and by the time summer rolled around, I had no idea what kind of baseball players were in this town, really. Well, there was this skinny kid in glasses who was hitting the ball really far. And I was like, holy cow, these guys are pretty good. Around those times, growing up in the early 90s, kind of like the rest of the people that were living here then and the kids, we rode our bikes around a lot, spent a lot of time at the outdoor pool, spent a little time maybe jumping off the railroad bridge, I don't know, getting into a little trouble here and there too, but our go-to game between Lars and Chad Diggerness and I was more of a sandlot style tennis ball home run derby, and we played a lot of it. We had 2 fields, one across the street from my parents and one behind the Larson residence. We didn't need a home plate because I'm pretty sure everything was in the strike zone when we played. From early days, I had a front row seat to greatness. Lars was fast, strong, and hit the ball hard almost every single time. Having a front row seat to see that, looking back on it, you realize how lucky you are. I have a few stories that I'd like to share from a couple different eras. When we were 12, playing in Bemidji, I'm pretty sure Lars hit it over at least 2 school buses one weekend. Thankfully, the windows were saved. In high school, we really realized Lars was probably pretty special when it looked like he was hitting it onto the fair buildings from Gilbertson. That seemed to be like a pretty tall feat. But for Lars, it was business as usual. By the time we got to high school, we had a lot of wins. We didn't always get to the final prize that we wanted to, but we had a lot of fun doing it. In high school, in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, in Legion Ball, they have a field similar to Gilbertson with a lot of trees lying around the field. Lars hit a ball there that probably still hasn't landed yet, and I'm pretty sure they did not find it in the trees. After high school, I got to be his roommate for 1 year at University of North Dakota. There were 5 of us from Roseau on the team at the time, and 2 had just graduated the year before, Todd Winslow and Dave McDonald, and they set a great example on how Roseau baseball was supposed to be represented. Lars made an immediate impact when we got to UND. From the time he stepped foot on campus, he was already one of the best players and the best hitters on the team. Unfortunately, I transferred schools and had to face Lars a few times. I will never forget the home run I gave up against him in fall ball that I think our first baseman probably thought he had a chance to catch. And by the time he lifted his glove, the ball was over the fence. Lars had a Hall of Fame career here. He had a Hall of Fame career at University of North Dakota, where he also got to play in the Northwoods All-Star game in the Collegiate Wood Bat League. Through it all, he was the most humble player that you would ever see. He let us play and do the talking. And I know a lot of that comes from Elvin, Kay, Tammy, and Shane for setting an example on how to be a Roseau Ram and how to play sports. I'm proud to call Lars my friend, and I'm really glad that he's cemented in the Hall of Fame in Roseau so we can remember his greatness forever. Congrats, Lars.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Well, thank you for the introduction, but when I asked Becky to introduce me here for this event, he didn't hesitate. And if you don't know, Becky currently lives in Idaho, so getting to Roseau for this event this weekend was no easy feat. So I appreciate the intro and your efforts getting here. So, good afternoon. So for those that don't know me well, or those that do know me well, excuse me, you're aware that I'm not a man of many words, so I'll keep things relatively short for today. I'd like to start off by thanking the Roseau Hall of Fame Committee, especially Tracy Winslow for their recommendation, allowing me to join the outstanding group of past, present, and future Hall of Fame members here in Roseau. Even though we hadn't met at this point in my life, I'd like to thank my wife, Lindsay, our children, Avery and Beckett, for their continued support, even if it's just coming to watch beer league softball. I'd also like to thank my older siblings, Tammy and Shane, for all their continued support over the years. And finally, I wouldn't be here today without the support of my parents, Alvin and Kay, as they always managed to find ways to buy new gloves, cleats, bats, and travel to various events throughout the years. And Dad, if I never formally apologize for the broken windows in the garage from stray baseballs and pucks over the years, I'll do so now. Because I now realize full well why you needed a hot toddy. I've had the fortune of living in a few different locations and states, from growing up here in Roseau, attending college in Grand Forks, working in central Illinois for a few years, and now residing in Bismarck, North Dakota. Of all the places I've been, none of them have the close-knit, supportive, caring, and special community that Roseau does. The Roseau community takes pride in every aspect, from athletics, to facilities, to employers, to communities, and beyond. And when it comes to athletics, the depth of knowledge, pride, and dedication here is second to none. When I look back at the coaches I was fortunate enough to have in baseball growing up, it's hard to beat the Wentzlaff family, Terry Taylor, Darryl Stromlin, and of course, Bobcat in our younger days. In addition to coaches, mentors are also extremely important. As I watched the likes of Todd Wentzlaff, Terry Taylor, Josh Stromlin, and several others, they paved the way for younger athletes like me and continued putting Roseau baseball on the map. And lastly, I'll always be grateful for the memories made from growing up in such a special place. From home run derby and vacant lots around town, to road trips, vans, and buses, I look back fondly at all the memories and the life lessons learned along the way. Discipline, work ethic, leadership, and amongst others, and will forever hold a special place for me. Right next to the pride of being brought up in such a special place, the home of the Rams. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all for this opportunity, and thank you for everyone who helped me along the way. I couldn't ask for a better place to call home. Thank you.
Our last presenter is Phil Larson. This has nothing to do with athletics, but my son Willie worked for Phil for 2 summers with RPM. And it was a life lesson Willie learned that apparently when they were laying sod, drivers going by would help them understand that it's the green side up.
Never got home.
Never.
Thank you.
My longtime friend, Phil Larson. Phil.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here today to be a part of this special day for all the inductees. Some pretty good stories that we just heard. Some stories I'm sure that were left out by all presenters and recipients. With that said, I wish that I was not the one up here today, but instead, it would have been Jake's first choice, Bruce Olson. I wish he was standing here today. We miss you, Coach. It would have been fun to get to know him better as an adult and to share my family and children with him and talk about kind of what Amanda reached into about the stories of good, bad, and ugly in the locker room, the bumps along the way. We miss him. Also, I was thankful that Jack sent out a follow-up email stating that this would be for a Hall of Fame induction and not for a roast of Jake Grant. He changed the content of this, my writing, and the guest that would have been here. So, thank you, Jack. Almost 40 years ago, as we are not getting younger, a group of friends in Roseau began a journey down the path of school and sport. Even though we didn't know it yet, there was a young hockey player training to be a major pain in the butt for anyone trying to put the puck in the net. Way back in the 90s, as my kids remind me about, the separation of schools until the 7th grade, Mulungan Wanaska allowed for different settings. It may have helped Jake become, as he developed into a better hockey player. One of the things that can separate any hockey player is how well they can skate. Now, I wasn't there, but I've been told stories that any chance the kids got out at the country schools, they would get laced up, go onto the ice, whether it was for 10 minutes or an hour. What an incentive to go to school. I think that this was a major factor why Jake was such a good skater. By Jake skating out during some of these sessions in the open air out in the country schools, he was able to work on his edges. Also, whether he knew it or not, he learned the mindset and the tendencies of shooters and forward hockey players. And this is where I circle back from the major pain from along. Jake was good, and Jake knew it. With that confidence was his level of compete and always wanting to be the best. He could talk trash and back it up. Some days we really hated him, whether it was practice or open hockey, and I used the right word. But we had our ways of keeping him humble too, or poking the bear. Every couple of years, Jake would get a custom helmet. Al, I'm sure you remember. Starting at about the age of 10, Jake would get a new custom painted helmet from Todd Miska, a gentleman down in the cities. And let me tell you, it was an event. Each time it would come in the mail. Jake would bring it down in the locker room, still in the unopened box. He would carefully unveil it. And it was a work of art. It truly was a work of art. Everyone was different. I want to say he had about 6. And we would all hit turns looking at it and gawking over it. It was pretty neat. So as he would place this upon his head, now for everyone here under the age of 30 in the room, this was a beautiful time before phones were in our hands and the internet, which brought the level of anticipation to the top when these were unveiled. Now, as I stated, we had our ways of getting to Jake. And if he was having a fabulous day in the net, stopping everything that we could throw at him, we went to plan B. And nothing got Jake more fired up than sending a slap shot and bouncing it off that prize helmet. Oh, how the language flew. The other thing that we would do was to gang up on him during a shootout with taunts and some flashy celebrations after a goal. Sometimes this would send Jake off the ice to replace a broken stick that was swung at a post a bit too hard, but he always came back on the ice because it wasn't over and he wanted to finish the competition. All of this would go by the wayside when we laced them up and lined up together against another team. And none of us would have wanted anyone else between the pipes when the puck dropped. Jake's hunger to be the best and his level of compete propelled him to be a world-class goaltender. Jake's high school career was nothing short of a highlight reel. 10th grade, sophomore starter, state appearance in 4th place. 11th grade, all-tournament team at the state tournament, state champion. 12th grade, state consolation champion. Frank Brimzik Award winner for the best goalie in the state. I left out all the personal stats on purpose because Jake and I have talked about this before, and what I said above says enough about how good he was. In the years since we moved on from Roseau High School, Jake has an exceptional run at the sport. Junior hockey in the USHL, starting goalie for the University of North Dakota. But his post-hockey life has been nothing short of excellent. Jake has taken his competitiveness and drive to own and operate a successful state farm agency in Brainerd that he built from the ground up and turned it into a multi-agent machine. Jake understands how important the sport has been to him and his life, and he has made a point to give back. Jake has coached multiple years in the Brainerd community on multiple teams, and also just going on the ice to help with goalie instruction. Jake is also on the board for an organization called Camp Confidence that is an organization dedicated to enhancing the skills life skills of people through outdoor activities in the Brainerd area, which I know he's very proud of and does not brag about. Jake has continued his support of the Roseau program and has been on the board of Alumni Association for the last 8 years, donating both time and money back to the hockey community that gave him so much. The sport of hockey and the city of Roseau has given me a dear friend. It is my privilege and honor to present not only a great goalie, hockey player, but a wonderful, wonderful person. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Brown.
Thank you for all being here today. First, I want to congratulate my fellow nominees being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It's an honor to join such a prestigious group of remarkable teams and individuals, and I'd also like to extend my gratitude to Mr. Terry Godson for nominating me into the committee select. Godsey was just something special to me, special to everyone in Roseau. Anytime you saw that wicked signature, I don't know if your heart skipped a beat, if you're nervous, happy, excited, or going, what happened, what did I do? But he was a remarkable athletic director, and proud to call him my friends. Also special thanks to you, Phil, my captain of our hockey team. Tell you what, growing up, we were really good all along. Captain a team to win at 99 was pretty remarkable, and that's a moment that we all cherish. And it's the greatest day of my life. So, I'd like to just share a little bit about how I became a goalie as a child. I fell in love with the position from the very first moment that I tried it. I knew it was really the only thing that I wanted to do. But I had some parents that were in the way, especially my dad. I would get literally drug out of the net and chewed out and scolded. And it got to be to the point where I didn't even want to go to the rink anymore. And he knew it. Grew up on a farm where we milked cows, but it wasn't always easy to sneak into the rink. And he asked one day if I wanted to go. And I said, no. He said, what? I don't want to go. And he says, why not? I can't play goalie. I said, well, if I let you play goalie, will you? Absolutely. I remember one time as a kid too, I was playing scrub, just a little half on ice in the zone. I always need a goalie who played with either sponge pucks or tennis balls, and I broke a stick playing goalie. I was really nervous. Well, Terry Modal was in the stands. He was a carpenter, and I ran my stick out and said, you got any wood glue and some duct tape so we can duct tape this up so I don't get in trouble? If I broke that playing goalie, it wasn't going to be pretty. The real turning point, though, on really how I became a goalie was in Squirt Bees. I was a pretty good out player. My brother was 15 months older than me, and him and I were comparable levels, and my grandpa was diagnosed with leukemia. Edson Brandt, a proud Roseau school member for many years. And it was tough, milking cows. It was tough being able to run on a couple different teams. So my dad said, I'll make you a deal. You make the team playing goalie, you can play goalie. If not, you're playing out. Well, you know Kathy Erickson, once she caught wind of that, Lou Erickson was her coach. It didn't take long for Lou to find out. And so I got to thank Lou Erickson for seeing the vision in me to let me play goaltender, because I don't know that I was deserving of it at that time, but he saw something in me. So thank Lou Erickson for letting me become a goaltender. Also want to thank the incredible coaches who shaped me over the years. We had great coaches in Squirts, Greg Bumgartner and Dave Wentzloff. Pee-wees, obviously we had the legendary Dick Johnson, and stories we could tell about that is pretty remarkable. And he had John Wentzloff with him. And then Bantams, we had Lou Erickson, Bob Lund, Tom Murphy, and then obviously in high school, Bruce Olson. I miss that guy, wish he was here, but I'm really proud of him because of the pressure that he was under with Bergie. You remember the pressure of those days? We were supposed to win it. When you're supposed to win, it isn't always easy. We had Flash, Jim Lumbum as well, along with Brian Bergstrom and Jamie Bufflin. And my senior year, we had Aaron Broughton, who returned to coach his alma mater along with Quincy Mike Adams as well. And Mike Lumbum for golf. Wasn't that good of an individual golfer, to be honest. Bill and I kind of joked off today about, and a lot of you guys have honestly said this today, it feels weird being up here in a team sport when you're individually being recognized. Not always easy. But I just want to thank all of my coaches. Growing up, we talked about a lot of this. In 1999, we were the Class A school of the year. Roseau, Little Roseau. I think it started with our volleyball team. It was second place in state in 99. I think we beat, was it Stewartville in the opening round? I think they were ranked like 1 or 2 in the country. So it started with 99. We were fortunate to grow up with such great athletes. I mean, our golf teams were runner-up, both boys and men. You look at the state tournament or the track, what you guys did, both individually and team-wise. Hockey, we won it. I mean, you talk about a time to grow up with a bunch of driven athletes in a small town. I think we all held each other accountable. We all pushed each other. And I'm extremely proud to grow up here, and especially in the era that I did. Speaking of our team was really something special. We were like a family that was bound by hard work, grit, determination. I mean, we had keys to the rink. I don't know if anyone didn't have. We snuck in there any chance we could. If I got something new for Christmas, we were going in there. We all just loved the rink. It was our second home. Talk about this nomination not just being mine, it belongs to all of us, our teammates. Growing up, we had one simple goal, to win, and we won a lot. We got home on a lot of late Sunday nights with early school because we played tournaments all over the state of Minnesota because we were capable of competing with the best. But again, in 99, to see that hard work pay off when we won that Class AA state tournament, I still remember Phil Larson grabbing, I think it was Jeff Grayson from the TV station and said, no, we want to do something special. It talked about how special that group was, how special each and every one of us were when we dedicated that state championship to Nancy Burgraff, who was hanging on for her dear life with ALS, and we got the job done. And I'm forever proud we were able to give that to her, but she was still here with us. To the Roseau community, thank you. We're simply built different here in Roseau. And I felt like the luckiest kid growing up. The support we received from everyone was unmatched. We had charge accounts at the hockey arena stand. Doug and Linda Hedlund kept us fueled. Early mornings, Steve Berglund's guest house hash browns was always a treat when you got up for those early mornings. We even had charge accounts at the golf course stand. And my charge accounts were aggressive. I was lucky enough to have a brother just old enough for me, so I could blame a lot on him, but the numbers didn't change much when he graduated, so. Also, we just want to touch on Ida Modal. It was really special. Jessie Modal is a really good friend of mine, and she was like a second mother to me, so. She made a lot of Purple Source Rex Kool-Aid for us. We had a lot of field hockey games out there. Mac and cheese was phenomenal, and she made these homemade caramels that I'd sneak down from the upstairs as Jesse and I played video games and ate a lot of them over the years. I always joke that the kids have it so great nowadays, but boy, looking back, we had it pretty darn good too. Finally, the last thing I want to touch on is my family. I really grew up with everything that I needed and everything that I wanted, but I was taught that what if I had wasn't good enough, you simply got to go out and work. And like Phil said, I had expensive taste in goalie equipment. I wanted the best. I wanted the nicest stuff, and the school and youth would provide you those things, but if you wanted a little nicer, you had to do that. So I was lucky enough to go out on the family farm on my mother's side. Roger Falk and Bruce Falk, who are here today, so thank you. But those guys taught me what hard work was at a young age. just watching Bruce Falk, who owned a dental practice. I mean, if you tell anyone, you put a dental practice in the middle of the country next to a cow barn and you're gonna be successful. I think the banker would tell you, I don't know if I love that business plan. But he was the guy that could do it. And when I watched him get up early, do chores, and go drill on teeth, and then come out and find me, figure out what to do, because him and I, we went 100 miles an hour and we wrecked a lot of things. And I think Roger probably would shake his head because he'd tell me, you know, if you guys slow it down a little bit, you'll actually help us. We kept Paul Thompson, our mechanic, really busy. But those experiences taught me the value of hard work, and it's shaped me into who I am today. Not only that, I grew up with amazing mother and father who worked their tails off too. I want to give a shout out to my mom on a recent retirement from Polaris, where she dedicated 46 years of her grit to a company that she loved, that treated her back with the same love and respect. Thanks for showing me what hard work looks like to my Falk family and to my mom and dad. And once again, thank you to the committee and the town of Roseau. I'm proud to be a Ram. I'm proud to be from Roseau. Proud to call everyone here family. Thank you.
So inductees, if you would wait a second, because I'm guessing people are going to want pictures, so don't leave the stage. And for all you folks, all the inappropriate stories that they couldn't tell here, they will tell out there. So please join us for the treats after. Thank you all for coming.